is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black. We are Southwest.
Over the weekend at the Trop, 3 come-from-behind wins for the Rangers. Shades of a season ago. Now, 9 straight games at home to prove they're playoff worthy. First up, adversaries from the other league. That's another team from Florida. This one led by a man called Bigfoot. Welcome to Rangers Baseball, presented by AT. More beautiful weather tonight. Rangers thrilled to be home at Globe Life Park for the beginning of a long homestand. After opening the second half on the road for 10 games, the team that needed to get back home, coming off a very inspiring 3-game sweep this weekend in Tampa Bay. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you tonight. I'm Dave Raymond, and along shortly, Rangers Hall of Famer Tom Grieve will be joining us as well. We mentioned this is a big homestand for this team. It's fun to be in contention. It's fun to be a part of the wild card conversation at this point of the season. The Rangers, if they want to continue to be in that spot, well, they got to take care of business in the series against the Marlins. And then the weekend, Orioles come calling after a very difficult trip in Baltimore. And then finally, back to see the Mariners once we return to league play on July 31st. At that point, a lot will be decided. We'll know a lot more about all these teams and where they stand in the wild card race. But also watching on this homestand, Tom, we're excited about a little history with Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, we're so lucky to get a chance to watch this on a daily basis, watch it unfold as he shoots for 3,000 hits. Yesterday, he had a triple in the second inning. It's always fun to watch Adrian on the field. This one hits off the top of the wall, and watch him as he gets to third base. He adds a little Beltre to it right here. A couple little fake steps toward home plate. Nope, goes back to third. 9th inning against the shift. Not a smart thing to do. He can hit the ball that way any way he wants. Ground ball to right field. So he needs 11 more. Really something to look forward to on this trip.
No doubt. One of the all-time greats of the game, as we all know. Meanwhile, the Florida Marlins, the Miami Marlins rather, we don't see much of them. And this is a team that boasts one of the great players in the game right now. Giancarlo Stanton hits home runs as proficiently as anybody in the game. And you look over the last 8 years, look at that. More than Jay Bruce, Joey Votto, Ryan Braun, Matt Kemp. He is a big threat in the heart of their order.
He's a big threat, and he's a lot of fun to watch. I had a chance to watch the Home Run Derby up close and personal in San Diego that he won. He was fun to watch this year. He's one of those guys you'd pay to watch. He's already hit 30 home runs. The most he's ever had in a season is 37. He's on pace to hit 51. Today in batting practice, he hit one on top of the Hyundai Club in left center field. Who knows how far that went, and he almost hit the car. So this is a really great power hitter. A lot of fun to watch. Let's hope we can keep him in the ballpark.
Plenty of disappointment for the Marlins this year, but one of the great stars of the game. Meanwhile, the Rangers, they love the interleague play. Emily Jones will tell you more about that when we put the interleague record in the spotlight in just a moment. Rangers Baseball is brought to you by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. game in this 3-game series, interleague style, and as we mentioned, Rangers like interleague play. For more on that, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, a perfect time for a National League opponent to come to town as the Rangers looking to make a push in that wild card race. And if past performance is any indicator of future success, the Rangers are in good shape in this series. When you look at their interleague play this season, a 10-2 record, 6-1 here at home. They have doubled up their opponent in terms of scoring with a 2.89 ERA. Hopefully numbers they look to continue here tonight. Jeff Bannister saying before today's game that, of course, wins and losses count the same in August as they do in July, as they do in September. But there is a bit of an emphasis on this homestand because of the timing of it, because we are a week out from the trade deadline, and this team is straddling contender and out of its status. So they need to put a foot down here, especially on this homestand, and indicate to the front office that they are still very much in the mix here. Dave.
Yeah, that is what is at stake on this homestand, arguably, to this point, the largest homestand of the year for the Rangers, and it is fitting, or at least advantageous, that they get to see a Marlins team that their future is already determined. They're sellers. They're looking to get better for the future despite what has been a couple of years of high expectations going into spring. A year of disappointment for the Marlins as we take a look at their starting lineup tonight. 44 wins, 52 losses, and they're 14.5 games out. D. Gordon up at the top with his great speed, but then some power. Stanton, Yelich, Ozuna, and don't sleep on Real Muto, their catcher. He is one of the best hitting catchers in the game, and their DH, Justin Bour, can bring it as well. This is a deep lineup for Miami.
And we'll check out the pitch arsenal for Martin Perez. Sinker is the name of the game for Martin. That's his fastball, 93 miles an hour. He'll throw a slider and a curveball about the same amount of time, and a little bit more than that, he'll throw his changeup. His best games are when he keeps the ball down and gets ground balls. Really good idea against the powerful middle of this lineup to keep it down and get ground balls. Tonight's Rangers defense is delivered by Texas Department of Transportation. Delino DeShields will get the start in center field. Carlos Gomez is the DH. Miami has a left-hander on the mound, so some of the left-hand hitters are getting the night off. It's Mazzara and Chu in the corner outfield spots. Andrus and Odor up the middle. Mike Napoli's at first base. Adrian's at third, and behind the plate, Jonathan Lucroy.
All right, well, that gets us all set to go tonight. First of 3 against the Miami Marlins, and Martin Perez fires it up. And he'll come a little bit inside with ball 1 to D. Gordon. Well, we mentioned Gordon, a guy with great speed, getting on at a 333 clip. They would like to see maybe a little more consistency from Gordon at the very top of the order, but he is a weapon once he reaches. Not going to hurt you with a lot of power. Hasn't hit one out yet this year, but a 290 average for him. And he slaps one down to third, and Beltre can't handle it. So Gordon is on, and he's pedaling for 2, and Andrews can't get the throw there in time. So there you see some of the great speed of D. Gordon and what he can do, not by hitting the ball hard, but by hitting it sometimes strategically.
And for Martin Perez, it's kind of a frustrating thing to watch. He just slaps this ball on the ground. It's got a lot of spin on it. Adrian gets his glove on it, but it just looked like it spun off the thumb of his glove. And once it snuck by him, you see Gordon take the turn, and he's flying into second base. How many guys can make that turn and get to second base any quicker than that? Billy Hamilton, maybe.
And they scored that one a double for Gordon. And it brings up Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton, we just talked about his great power. Very tough right-handed hitter. 271 average. Leading the National League with those 30 home runs. He will strike out, 97 strikeouts so far this year. Quick toss back to second. Really nice move. Gordon, though, back in there.
Got great timing on the pickoff play. Good throw, hard tag. Gordon's quickness allowed him to get back.
One 0 pitch, and that ball hit well out to left field, and no one's going to be able to catch that one. A 2-run homer by Giancarlo Stanton, and Miami jumps out in front 2-0.
Well, Stanton he's hot. 9 home runs in July. That's number 10 in July. That's the most in this month in the major leagues. Take a look at the pitch. It's a fastball in 93 miles an hour. And Stanton, not his best bolt, but better than most, that's for sure. He's now hit 20 home runs in 51 games since the Marlins moved him to the 2nd spot in the order. That's really suited him. I don't know if it's allowed him to see more fastballs, more pitches to hit, but batting second is not necessarily the spot in the order that you would expect to see him, but it's working out well for him, working out well for Miami.
Christian Yelich, and he'll hit one on the ground right side. Playable for Odor. And there is the first out of the game. It's funny you said that about Stanton. It looked like on that pitch that Perez did get a little bit in on him. He didn't get to extend his arms all the way. And he still hit it at the base of that scoreboard back of that section up there. That's unbelievable.
He hit that ball where most guys hit their best shot. That one, 429 feet, came off the bat at 110 miles an hour. That's a nice shot for him, but far from his best shot.
So now Osuna, and he chases strike one. Well, Rangers, they had to come from behind every day of that series in Tampa, and they're going to have to do it again here tonight.
When you look at the Marlins lineup, obviously Gordon's a solid leadoff hitter, but then you've got Stanton. Yelich is an upcoming player. Osuna's a 2-time All-Star. Realmuto has hit 300 the last 2 years. Justin Bour is having an All-Star year. So they've got really good hitters in the middle of their lineup. Not an easy lineup for a pitcher to face. Pretty good hitter right there.
Yeah.
Manager Don Mattingly.
1-1, a breaking ball fouled back. The ball and 2 strikes on Osuna. We're talking about good hitters. .313 average, 23 home runs for Osuna. Two-time All-Star. In fact, he started the All-Star game 2 years ago for the National League. Taps that one foul.
Look at road RBIs in the National League. Marcell Osuna right near the top. Some All-Stars in that lineup. 3 Washington players. I would imagine Washington's doing pretty well on the road looking at that graphic.
Bouncer foul again by Osuna, keeps the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, Washington we know doing well just about everywhere, but you're right. Wow, 33-19 on the road. So yeah, you're right. The Nationals, that's impressive.
Washington has 4 hitters in the top 10 in batting average in the National League.
Hard bouncer by Short, and that's a single for Osuna. So the double the homer, now a single by Osuna. These Marlins swinging some pretty good bats.
First pitch to Osuna was a changeup. He was looking for a fastball. He was way out in front of it. That was a changeup, but in a pretty good location for a hitter. Changeup, I think, is much more affected to a right-hand hitter if it's down and away from a left-hand pitcher. That one was about belt high on the inside part of the plate. Kind of pitch, even if you're fooled on it a little bit, the location allows you to get a decent swing at it.
Well, now JT Realmuto. 10 home runs this year for him, 39 RBIs, and he's hitting better than 300. Batting fifth for the Marlins. And for these National League teams to go on the road like this, and two ways of looking at it. Either they get to use a DH, Justin Bour today, who waits on deck, or they have to figure out a way to employ the DH. Now, for National League teams, it's kind of fun, right? You get a chance to get somebody else in there and see what, a fully loaded offense might look like. This is a team that you feel like it has kind of almost an American League style offense.
Yeah, I would think for the National League teams, it's nice to have a little stretch of interleague games. You can give a lot of your key players a rest by making them the DH. And so in that way, it works out well. But the National League teams really don't have someone tailor-made to be a DH like a lot of American League teams do. So I think National League teams would say they're a little bit at a disadvantage because of that. But it does serve a purpose by resting players on given nights. Tonight it's Bour. Maybe we'll see Stanton get a chance to DH in this series as well.
And there's big Justin Bour. 21 home runs for him.
It was fun watching him in the home run derby. He was pumped up in Miami, and he's got the perfect home run swing to pull the ball into the stands. He's got a short swing and just was kind of yanking them one right after the other into the left field seats with ease. They were going way out of there. Looked like he was going to win it until the tremendous comeback by Aaron Judge. Stanton didn't win it, but he was right up there with Judge as the most formidable guy in that contest. Got off to a slow start, but he was driving him out one right after the other and almost made it.
Runner goes, and this one lined into left field. A base hit for Realmuto. And so the Marlins with back-to-back one-out singles, continuing to set up shop here in the first inning.
Gordon just slapped his double, but the base hits have been hit well. Obviously Stanton's home run, but the single by Ozuna to left, and now the single by Realmuto to left, both hit on the ball of the bat. Oh, a rope. Nice quick stroke by a 300 hitter.
So a long first inning already for Martin Perez as he'll go to work against Justin Bour here. This will be his 20th pitch of the inning. Good news is with Martin Perez is he can get that double play grounder at any moment. So with one out in the inning, he's just one pitch away from heading back into the dugout, and that would be a little bit of a lift in this spot. Middle infielders pulled in just a smidge in hopes of that ground ball. Bour slaps that one foul. The count 0-2. So here's Bour batting 6th in their order with 21 home runs. When I say kind of an American League style offense, but people marvel all the time at the Rangers and the number of homers they have in the bottom of the order. And this is a National League team that shares that look. Andrews to second one. The relay in time. And there's that big double play for Martin Perez. And it saves him from an otherwise very difficult first inning. The Marlins will have to settle for 2, and the Rangers just now coming to bat. Very productive. Top of the first for them. Now here come the Rangers. Let's take a look at our Southwest starting lineup. Rangers 48-50. 17 games out in the division. Gomez leading it off today as the DH, dropping Chu to number 2 in the order, but he has really thrived in interleague play. You see Nomar Mazara dropped out of that 3rd spot of the order all the way down to 8 tonight.
And we'll look at Adam Conley, the lefty from Miami, and the pitches that he likes to throw. His pitch arsenal, a lot of fastballs, almost 70% fastballs. He also throws a slider and a changeup, an equal amount. The first time we'll get a chance to see Adam Conley. He started out poorly, was sent to the minor leagues. He's had 1 start since he's been recalled. This will be his 2nd. A lot of moving parts in this delivery.
Well, he'll deal with Carlos Gomez. And Gomez on the 2nd pitch he sees pops up to first base. More in foul ground, 1 away.
Take a look at the Marlins defense. Christian Yelich is in center field. Power hitters Ozuna and Stanton are in left field and right. Miguel Rojas, D. Gordon up the middle. Derek Dietrich gets the start at 3rd. It's Tyler Moore at 1st. And we've talked a little bit about JT Realmuto behind the plate and the kind of career he's on to. 300 the last 2 years and doing it again this year.
Shin-Soo Choo steps in and takes a strike. Choo now with 14 home runs, the .362 on base average. 1-1 the count.
Now, obviously, he's not a carbon copy of the pitcher I'm going to mention, but there's a little bit of Chris Sale when you look at Adam Conley out there.
Line drive up the middle, and it's caught by Rojas. Positioned well, 2 away.
Tall, lanky lefty with a little bit of a side-winding delivery.
Number 1, Elvis Andrus.
Conley kind of an odd bird in that when you look at his numbers here. At home, and that is a huge ballpark. 0-3 in 5 starts and an ERA approaching 11. On the road, well, he's been really good. 2-0 at 2.20 ERA. And that's hard to figure given where they play their home games. He gets 2 quick outs here, and Elvis Andrus backed out for a moment, wants to reset, buy a little time. And Conley fires in strike 1. Well, he doesn't waste any time. Well, he gets it and goes.
Conley had a good year for Miami last year. He was 8-6 in 25 starts with an ERA under 4. Less hits than innings pitched. Almost a strikeout per inning. This year it was a struggle for him. Talking to some of the Marlins people, they mentioned that his velocity was down a little bit. But he got off to, after that nice season, he got off to such a bad start that he was sent to the minor leagues for a significant part of the season.
Andrews with a bouncer left side, and that one sneaks through into left field. So Elvis gets on with 2 away in this 1st inning. And that'll bring up Adrian Beltre now. And we talked in the open time about his march toward history. Ichiro Suzuki got there last year. Beltre and Albert Pujols, the other 2 active hit leaders, approaching 3,000. Adrian just 11 short.
Oh, there's Ichiro. Adrian's probably not going to get, you never know, 3,000 during this series against Miami, but
well, there's the first one it'll take into right field, base hit.
that's why I said you never know.
Well, Beltre with a single to right keeps the inning going. I don't want that baseball. 2,990.
Adrian's really going to right field over the last few games. He did it with his triple. His base hit in the 9th inning yesterday was almost a carbon copy of this base hit. If you put a shift on against him, and that really wasn't a shift, the second baseman was more shading towards second base, but if he's got a big hole to shoot for him, he's not afraid to go that way, and he's so good at doing it. That big hole gives him a great chance for a base hit.
He just needs 10 more. Our Adrian Beltre hit counter brought to you by Jack in the Box. More importantly, gets a couple of men on base from Mike Napoli. And a chance now for the Rangers, even though 2 quick outs started this inning, a chance to get one, maybe more of those runs back from the top of the first. Napoli, 21 home runs, 46 RBIs, and as much as we have talked about Giancarlo Stanton and his great power, he and Napoli neck and neck in the month of July. Stanton the most home runs in all of Major League Baseball in July, but right behind him is Napoli. Fouled back. So our TXU energy power player to watch is Mike Napoli. And regarding those numbers, Stanton with that home run earlier tonight, number 10 in the month. Napoli sitting on 7. There's a decent amount of power collected at the ballpark for these first 3 days of the week, no doubt about that. And that one way in. 2-2. That's what these teams rely on, of course. Somebody to hit the long ball, the 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3, and Napoli can't believe it. That's a big pitch with a couple of men on. He did not like it. The inning is done. Despite a couple of 2-out hits, the Rangers leave a pair, and we go to the second inning. Did not like the call.
Well, it was a tough call. It was basically a perfect pitcher's pitch. If I'm a hitter, I'm not going to like that call very much either. But as we look at the rectangle, it just barely touched the inside corner. I probably would have reacted the same way Knapp did. But at the same time, if you're out there trying to earn a living pitching, you want to hit the tough part of the strike zone. And it looked like Conley was able to do that time.
So a 2-0 start tonight. And out of the second inning, Tyler Moore takes strike 1 from Martin Perez. That'll be key for Martin to settle back in, especially after a 22-pitch first inning. He'll want a quick one here. 1-1 the count. Good news for Perez was he needed the ground ball, the double play, and he got it. This one shot out to right field, but Chu was there. One out of the second inning. Rangers fans, download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't catch the games on TV, you can still stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app, presented by AT and Hyundai. Now here's Dietrich, 8th place hitter for Miami, .235 average this year. A big swing and a miss. Makes it 1-1. One and two the count. Well, Martin Perez, we talked about what happened in that first inning. 22 pitches. He was going with the high pants, Tom. He had shown a lot of stocking. Yeah, here you go. That's how he started the game. So the first inning didn't go great. Now in the second inning, long pants.
That's typical of a ball player. Maybe typical of a professional athlete. I don't know. But he felt more comfortable with the pants all the way down. Didn't like the way the first inning went. Why not? Make a change. If it makes you feel better, then chances are you'll pitch better.
2-2. And a bouncer foul. What was the greatest length you went to try and shake something up for yourself? Surely you did something.
You know, I told this story the other day during the pregame show, I think. The one thing that happened to me that shook things up and changed things in my favor. To start one of the seasons, I don't even know which one it was, I was like 6 for 40. Every time I looked up at the scoreboard, I saw 120 or 130. And I think you tend to squeeze the bat a little harder, try a little harder, you're nervous. And a fan screamed, "Just relax." And right after that, my son Tim was probably 6 or 7, and he was going through a phase where he was calling me by my first name. And right after that, I hear, "Come on, Tommy! Come on, Tommy!" And as the inning ends, it just allowed me to relax. And I said, you know what? Relax. You can't do any worse than you're doing now. And it seemed to help a little bit.
Hey, the long pants may have helped Martin Perez. 1, 2, 3. Top of the second inning on just 10 pitches. As Martin Perez comes right back with a really nice top of the second inning. And now we'll see what the Rangers can get going in the bottom half of the second. Rougned Odor starting things off, then Jonathan Lucroy and Nomar Mazara. Adam Conley making his 8th start of the year for the Marlins. 2 wins, 3 losses, a .675 earned run average. And he fires one in there for a strike. Odor, you see there 19 home runs, 2 of them yesterday. So good signs yesterday from Odor. As the average now at .214. And fouls this one back. Rangers needed the home runs yesterday, especially the second one from Odor. It was a 2-run shot in the 8th inning that tied the game. And a big comeback win. And he hits this ball high in the air out to right field. Stanton back. Does he have room? He does.
Boy, he just missed that one. Yesterday, he didn't just miss. He connected a couple of times. Take a look at it. Fastball in, head down, way back in right field. I don't even know where that ball went. Never came down, it didn't look like. This one's a pitch about a foot off the ground that he lifts out of the ballpark for his second home run. And boy, he came pretty close to hitting another one right there. His first time up against Adam Conley.
Well, Jonathan Lucroy now. Maybe one of the surprises this year, the fact that Lucroy with just 4 home runs. We talked about it a little bit on that last road trip. When you look at this lineup and everybody with double-digit homers, and you wonder, well, could Jonathan join him? Last year after the trade deadline, he hit 11 home runs with the Rangers, so you know it's in there.
Yeah, I think that was very impressive about his time with the Rangers last year, is the production that you got in such a limited amount of at-bats, home runs and runs batted in.
2 balls, 2 strikes on the Rangers catcher. Nomar Mazara waiting on deck. A little bit tight. It's a full count. Well, Rangers got a couple of base runners in the first inning, but couldn't get them home. They both came with 2 out. Conley's payoff, bouncer left side, and a high hop for Rojas. Able to throw out Lucroy, and just like that, 2 gone. Well, we mentioned the Orioles are coming to town this weekend, and on Friday you can come out to the ballpark and enjoy a post-game fireworks show set to Texas music after the game. Fans will get a 20% discount on upper reserve tickets by using the coupon code FIREWORKS at texasrangers.com/specials.
I got to think the Rangers are going to go into that series against the Orioles thinking they owe them a little bit after what happened in Baltimore.
Boy, that was a weird one. You know, it just, each of those games kind of got harder and harder to explain. You just didn't see the mismatch the way it ended up showing up on paper.
Yeah, it just, we talked about that in the pre and the post game show. All 4 games, it just looked like on paper coming in there, the way the Baltimore pitchers were getting bombed, that it was going to be a nice series for the Ranger hitters. But I have to give credit to the Oriole pitchers. They didn't pitch the way they'd been pitching for most of the season in that series. They looked a lot better than that.
1-2 pitch to Mazara. And a hard bouncer up the middle, sliding, stopped by Gordon, and it's thrown to first in time. Nice play by D. Gordon. And it makes for a 1-2-3 inning behind Adam Conley, and we go to the 3rd, 2-0 Marlins.
progressive fan of the game, and I am a sucker for a good sign. This kid knows the way to get on TV. You mentioned the network. Hey, Fox Sports, rode your bus here with my great-grandparents. This is Jackson Needham. He's 6 years old. He's a man of few words. I've told him to do nothing, especially don't smile. Do not smile, whatever you do. But he does get the progressive fan of the game bag. Jackson, don't you dare smile. There, I got it.
Couldn't help himself. Oh, that smile, why should he?
He made a good comeback, though, once he got rid of that little smirk.
Well, D. Gordon trying the same trick to start this third inning. He slapped one down to third, but this time Beltre makes the play, one out, and here is Giancarlo Stanton. He takes a breaking ball for ball one. Stanton homered in the first, and that right now is the scoring in this game. 1-1. Gives him 31 home runs for the year now. Not ahead of that one. Now 1-2 the count. Martin has picked up his pace considerably as this game has worn on. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's keeping everything down low. He didn't want anything up by the knees for Stanton.
And, you know, it's one thing to face Stanton when he's going normally, but now he's so hot. 10 home runs this month, 31 for the season. You just have a feeling that if you make any kind of a mistake, it's gone.
And there is ball 4. So Stanton draws the walk. Marlins have a runner on in this third inning.
Center fielder Christian Yelich.
Brings up Christian Yelich. 279 hitter with 9 home runs. Last year was a big year for Yelich. And some thought that maybe he had emerged as a guy who would be a big power threat, good speed. Lines this one to center and caught by DeShields. He'll throw back to first, but Stanton able to hustle back in there ahead of it.
Well, Yelich has hit the ball well a couple of times. Hard ground ball to second base. And this line shot to center. Nothing to show for it. A good look at Delino. Wasn't sure if he was going to have a shot at it, but he kept on coming. Not only made a nice sliding catch, didn't waste any time firing back to first base in case Stanton was sleeping over there. Oh, nice play.
So 2 gone for Osuna. Got a base hit in the first inning. Marlins had 4 hits in that first inning, and he lifts this one out to right field. Chu, though, in a couple of steps and tucks it away. The inning is done, and only 9 pitches needed in the third for Martin Perez, getting better as this one wears on. It's time for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. How about these news and notes? Clayton Kershaw going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with that back injury he suffered yesterday. That is big news in the National League, and of course, throughout the game. Corey Kluber, 14 more strikeouts last night, a team record 10 straight games now with at least 8 strikeouts. And Zach Britton got his 55th consecutive save for the Orioles, a new American League record. Other than that, not much going on a Sunday around baseball. That's a pretty amazing and newsy list right there. Delano DeShields starts off the third. Conley runs it a little tight. 1-1 to DeShields, batting 9th today, serving though as kind of that second leadoff man. It's 1-2. Kershaw news, though, occurring when it has here, a week in front of the non-waiver trade deadline, certainly amplifies the starting pitching trade market. And the fact that Steven Strasburg also to the DL for the Nationals, and DeShields strikes out swinging. We're underway in the bottom of the third inning.
Designated hitter, Carlos Gomez.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those injuries, if they do at all, affect the trade market, whether or not those teams who have seemed to be very willing to make trades will be even more willing now that they've got those injuries to some of their key guys.
Gomez takes one high for a ball. Let me ask you this, Tom. You were general manager. You know, the Dodgers had expressed interest and were exploring that pitching market. Is this one lined out to left field? Base hit for Gomez. The Rangers have a base runner for Chu, but you know, they've already been out there putting their feelers out and looking for some starting pitching. So teams have had these conversations. Now, if you're those teams on the other end and the Dodgers come calling, how do you play that?
Well, the fact that the trade hasn't been made in any of these conversations means that the team that was selling was asking a little bit more than the other team was willing to give. Otherwise, the trade would have been made by now. So I think what it does, if those teams come calling, it makes the team that has the pitcher to trade a little more confident that they can hold their ground and feel like the other team will give them what they're asking for now. If you're a team like the Dodgers and you're already looking for pitching, obviously they don't need it to win the Western Division of the National League, but as they look at the postseason and wanting to win a World Series championship, they felt like they might need a little more in the way of starting pitching. They have to decide whether Clayton Kershaw's injury is the kind of injury that he'll come back from, be strong late in September and strong headed into the postseason. If not, then you say to yourself, we've had a season where we're 68-31. We're the best team in baseball. And it would be a shame to see that derailed because our best pitcher got hurt when we might have the currency in the way of young players to get a very good replacement. And now we might have to give up more than we wanted to.
Chu with a base hit out into right field. Gomez pedals for third. Chu trying to for second, and they throw him out. A good throw from Stanton in right field, and Chu makes the second out of the inning on the bases.
Well, that's an aggressive attempt to get to second base by Chu. But one thing that you know with Stanton, he has a very strong and accurate arm, and he showed it right there. Very nice play to catch that throw, which took a short hop by Rojas and make the tag.
Well, Jeff Bannister says, hang on. Why don't you guys send this one back to New York and let them take a look at it? We get a better look here. Chu into the bag, and you know what? I don't
know. Tough call for the umpire because you've got the tag on a tough throw. Dirt's flying. He tags behind the leg. You really can't tell, I don't think, perfectly in that position, which is perfect position for the umpire, whether the tag comes down now before the foot hits the bag. From that angle, based on what we're seeing, it didn't look like it did.
That's going to be the angle right there.
Oh boy. I don't think he tagged him in time, but I also don't know if those views of it will definitively change the mind of the umpire.
Yeah, the ones that we have seen, I don't want to say they're inconclusive, but they might take a little extra faith on the other end to overturn the call in the field. Now that said, though, Tom, we have certainly learned that they have additional angles that they can view back in New York. And one of the cool things they do in that review center is they will have several of them going at one time, perfectly synced, so that they can get a look and say, okay, this event is happening in this view that we're seeing, and that might be Chu's foot hitting the bag. Where is that glove in this other view we're looking at? And then they can better sync those things up that way and make a decision. Tough for us looking at any one singular view, but they might be able to piece it together. It's like a game of Clue back there in the instant replay center.
Well, the umpires are down waiting for the call, watching our video board of the replays, trying to make their own mind up what the actual call might be.
Tom, you're talking about Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, a great athlete. He was a superstar wide receiver in football. And you look at him, he's a big guy. Taking a look at him at the left of your screen there. I mean, he is a big, strong man out there in right field. So he might not be quite as quick to the ball as some of those smaller outfielders. But, you know, scouts and observers who watch these guys, they point out, man, his routes to balls, they're not going to be able to overturn the call. His routes to ball as good as you get, and his arm a good one. An assist here today. This was yesterday in Cincinnati. A chance for a play at the plate. Laser got him.
Boy, another nice play.
Chance at third a little bit later in the ball game. And check it out. Same game, same guy. Yep.
That one was a little bit easier for the fielder to handle, but the catcher on the throw to the plate made an even nicer play than Rojas made on the short hop.
Andrews hits one high in the air, out to left, but it's not going to carry an Osuna. Able to get underneath it, and that ends the inning. A 10 pitch. Bottom of the third for Conley. Both starters starting to settle in. Power stats tonight. Rangers starting pitching. That certainly includes Martin Perez. These last 4 home games, a sub-1 earned run average with 19 strikeouts, and the opposition hitting just 144. They have done a fantastic job. Perez last 2 innings has been outstanding and fires in a strike to Realmuto here in the 4th inning. Martin used 10 pitches in the 2nd, 9 pitches in the 3rd. The curveball fouled off at strike 2.
Well, David, talking about possible trades in the last week before the trade deadline, the Royals made a key trade. Dayton Moore, their general manager, has said that they're all in. They've got a lot of free agents at the end of the year, but it's a team that's a veteran team. They're in a position to go to the postseason. They've been there before. They made a trade with San Diego where they got a starting pitcher, Trevor Cahill, who's having a nice season. Brandon Maurer, San Diego's closer, 20 out of 23 in save opportunities, and left-hander Ryan Buckner, who's having a nice season as well. So 2 bullpen guys and a starting pitcher.
Realmuto hits this one in the air to left field. Playable for Mazzara. 1 out here in the 4th inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to the studios and Dana Larson.
Your attention, please. For Miami, number 51, Ichiro Suzuki. Adding for Justin Bohr, Ichiro Suzuki, number 51. Adding for Bohr.
All right, thanks, Dana. How about that, the Cubs, man? I tell you what, every time you think they're ready to take off and completely take command of that National League Central, you see just a little misstep. I figure the White Sox, a team they should be able to handle a little bit, is Ichiro hitting here for Justin Bohr. So I'm not real sure what happened with Bohr, but Ichiro's taken over apparently as the DH.
Bohr hit into a double play his first time up. Just speculating, he may have done something trying to beat that throw out.
So Perez to the plate, 2-1, and he makes that one a little outside for ball 3. Ichiro slaps it foul. It's a full count.
Well, most guys who have played as long as Ichiro, by the time they reach 40, their body has changed at least a little bit. Now, Ichiro's face looks a little bit older, but not much. But his body pretty much looks like the exact same body he had 20 years ago.
Payoff pitch. And he'll bounce it foul. Well, he leads all of Major League Baseball with 16 pinch hits this year. Technically, this is a pinch hit appearance for him. But in his time, both in Japan and stateside, 4,335 hits. And that one almost hit him. Ball 4, and he will head down to first base. That's a lot of hits.
He had a knack for putting the bat on the ball. He could always run. Infielder at third base and even shortstop had to play in because he just slapped those little soft ground balls, and when you did, he'd hit one by you. He could bunt, and it just seemed like he always got more than his share of little flares and bloopers to the outfield. I'm not saying he didn't hit balls hard, but he had a knack for hitting the ball in a spot where he could either beat it out or it would drop in for a base hit.
It's often been said too that if he wanted to hit a lot of home runs, people feel like he could have.
Yeah, that's what people say, because he used to light it up in batting practice. I'm not too sure about that. I don't know if I'm buying that or not. I might be a seller on that statement. Just because if you could hit a home run at that rate, if you wanted to, why wouldn't you?
That is sort of
chicks dig the long ball. Didn't you know that?
Yeah.
That's why I don't know if he could have done it in a game. You know, it's one thing to hit a 60-mile-an-hour pitch in batting practice. There's a lot of guys that can do that don't even have a major league uniform. But then when they're making a curve and throwing it 90 miles an hour and it's sinking, I don't know if he could have or not. I'm not going to dispute the thought, but I'm not buying it personally.
2-1 from Perez, and a bouncing ball shortstop. Andrews to second. Odor with the turn, and another double play ground ball for Martin Perez, and it gets him out of the 4th inning. He's put up 3 scoreless since the 1st. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, 2-0 Marlins. How about this line for you, Tom? Wake up. It's baseball time in Texas. You could be one of the first 10,000 fans to the ballpark on Sunday, August 13th. You'll take home a Rangers talking alarm clock courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Brooke Schurz. The Rangers take on the Houston Astros at 2:05 start. Tickets available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
I will be taking that alarm clock home because it will remind me of the great Mark Holtz. He signed on to every Ranger game with "It's baseball time in Texas" as he led into the broadcast. So I'm going to put that on my desk right next to my bed, and when it sounds off with that, I'm going to think of Holtz. And I would suggest everybody to come out to the ballpark, get one, and do the same thing.
2-1 to Adrian Beltre in this 4th inning. Adrian had the base hit in the 1st. Gets him to within 10 of the big magic number, which is 3,000. And pitch from Conley up and away. It's 3-1. Chopper over the mound and through into center field. That's a base hit for Beltre. And a big smile as he takes his turnaround first. 2,991.
Well, the hits are starting to come pretty regularly right now. 2 for 4 yesterday, 2 for 2 today. He grounded a base hit to right field his first time up. He grounds this one up the middle. No one can make a play on it. Got top spin on it. Gordon couldn't get to it. 2 for 2 for Adrian. 9 more to go.
Beltre with another big hit. Now Mike Napoli. He takes one low for ball 1. Napoli was up with a couple men on in the 1st inning and took a called 3rd strike. Wasn't happy about it. We talked about it after the inning. It was a very tough pitch for him, a quality pitcher's pitch. Boy, it came at a big time for Adam Conley. 1-1 on Napoli. I mentioned Conley's numbers at the start of the game. There's a 2-1 pitch on the way. A big swing and a miss. And they are not great. And we're talking about a guy who last year, was great for the Marlins. They were pretty excited about him. An impressive 25 starts. He won 8, lost 6, had a .385 earned run average, and they figured he would be right at the top of their rotation this year. Napoli hits this one high in the air near third base. And shortstop Rojas tucks it away. And that is out number 1. There's Adrian Beltre thinking about, hey, are they watching? Just got that big hit. Our Adrian Beltre hit counter brought to you by Jack in the Box. 2,991 for Beltre. You can see next on the list, 9 away, Roberto Clemente. And then, it's already been impressive, but the names just pile up. The great names. One gone, and here is Rougned Odor. And a smash to first. What a stop by Moore, and he's to the bag in time. We think, yes. The call from Rob Drake, and the inning is over. That is an unbelievable play by Moore down at first. And so the inning is done. Rangers come up empty. We go to the 5th.
Congratulations to Ranger bench.
Who lunges back, catches the ball on a short hop, tags the base, and then dives and tags Adrian, who's trying to get back to first base. What a beautiful play. That took a double away from Rougned, headed down into the corner. That would have been second and third with 1 out. Great play by Tyler Moore for our AT high-speed replay.
Wow, something. You talk about quick reflexes down there at first. So it takes us to the 5th inning. Derek Dietrich is 0 for 1, struck out earlier tonight, and he takes a beauty for ball 1. That one a no-doubter. Evens the count at a ball and a strike on Dietrich. 8th and 9th place hitters in this 5th inning for Miami. Martin Perez been a different pitcher tonight after he has changed his pants.
Good point.
That first inning
turned it around.
Didn't go as well for him. 22 pitches, gave up a couple runs. Since then, has a no-hitter going. He's walked a couple, gotten a big double play in the 4th inning. Also got one in that first. 2-2. A bouncer first base. Slowly to Napoli, who will go to the bag himself. Retired Dietrich went away. Want to invite you to join us on Saturday, August 12th. One of those special afternoons out at the ballpark. We're going to honor Hall of Famer Ivan Rodriguez. Come to the ballpark early, a special pregame number retirement ceremony, plus first 15,000 fans. We'll get a Pudge Hall of Fame bobblehead, courtesy of Powerade and Walmart. Don't miss this historic event. Get your tickets now, TexasRangers.com/Pudge. All right, now Miguel Rojas. Rojas 0 for 1. Line down to center in the second inning. And shoots one over second base, out into short right field, and Odor making the over-shoulder catch. 2 away. Well, we'll turn the lineup back over to the top for D. Gordon. Well, I don't need any advanced analytics to tell me that Adrian Beltre needs to be ready in this spot.
He's already found that out.
Gordon has twice tried to slap the ball past Beltre, and this time take strike one. First time up, he did, and he got a double out. Takes another strike, and he's in a hole here, 0-2. Perez wasting little time. Count stays, no balls, and 2 strikes. Well, you look at D. Gordon, he had the hit back in the first inning, extends his road hitting streak, which currently sits at 12, the longest active in the big leagues. Eduardo Nunez of the Giants with 19. There's a swing and a miss. Strike 3, second strikeout tonight from Martin Perez, and another very efficient half inning for him. We go to the bottom of the 5th, 2-0. Nothing. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. That young man, Adam Connolly, has really done a very nice job tonight. He's allowed 5 Rangers hits, but has managed the outs he has needed. He's got a little help defensively, and he'll face the bottom third of the order in this 5th inning. Finds the strike zone to Jonathan Lucroy, who grounded out in the second. He's 0 for 1. Bounces up and hit Romuto up near the face mask. 0-2 the count. You see, based on what we have witnessed tonight, why the Marlins were so excited about Adam Conley going into the offseason and heading into spring training. This guy looks like he has a pretty good idea what he's doing.
He's got kind of a funky delivery. He's probably tough to pick up the ball. Glove flies, turns his back a little bit on the hitter. Rangers have hit some balls hard. They've had a couple of innings where they've had 2 hits. Haven't been able to break through yet, though.
2-strike pitch. And Lucroy pops it up first base side. Moore had a good night down there at first base.
Might be interesting to look at the split screen of Adam Conley and Chris Sale. Chris Sale on the left, to see the similarities in the two left-handers. Similar, pretty similar, not exact, but pretty close. Conley doesn't step quite as far toward first base in his delivery as Chris Sale. He's a little bit heavier than Chris Sale. Chris Sale's very slim, but some similarities there, and I'm sure the hitter has the same difficulty picking up Conley that they do Chris Sale. Now Sale's a much harder thrower.
This ball hit well to center field by Mazzara, but not well enough. Yelich is there, 2 away. And that'll bring Delano to Shields to the plate. Well, he's slightly different builds, right? Because Conley 6'3", 200 pounds, now 27 years old, recently celebrated his 27th birthday. Whereas Sale, you mentioned, very slender. Sale's a bit taller too, right?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, and it's not like Conley looks like a bodybuilder. He's rather slim himself. He's in great shape. Chris Sale is razor thin. Of course, Chris Sale throws anywhere from 94 to 98 miles an hour as well.
The Shields struck out in the 3rd inning, and he's in a hole here, 0-2.
Well, you can see the pad that Delano has on his left leg. He evidently has done that before. And so that shielded him somewhat from the blow, but not enough to where it doesn't hurt at all. Without that, he might have had to come out of the game.
I wonder how many times it takes a guy to do that before he
goes that way.
I think I'm going to get
That's
one of those little
question.
shin guards.
I don't know. I'd say it probably gets to the, but it's not that comfortable to wear that.
This ball hit high in the air to left field. Osuna goes back at the wall, and that one is off the fence. The Shields off to the races, heading for 3rd, and he's in there with a triple. Just missed the home run, but with that speed, an easy 2-out triple for Delano to Shields, his first of the year.
And that's about the 3rd or 4th ball that the Rangers have gotten great wood on right off the barrel of the bat and just gotten underneath enough to where it went high enough that it didn't go out of the ballpark. That one obviously came the closest, but Rugi had one to right center field. Elvis had one to left field. There's been several now. That one was the closest and ended up with a triple. The Rangers still trying to get that hit to bring in the first run.
Gomez makes a good rip at this one, but fouls it back out of play. Carlos not afraid to take a big swing. We saw that yesterday when he hit what would be the game-winning home run in the 8th inning down in St. Petersburg, and had the greatest follow-through I've ever seen a hitter have on a home run. That was.
He staggered, but he didn't go down.
It was like a great prize fight. 1-1 from Conley. And that is low.
This is what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Hit it the Beltray.
Fred Sanford.
It's lucky he didn't hurt his back leg, or the quad, or his knee. He's also very willing to take that slider off the leg to get on base by the looks of it. Not doing a whole lot to get out of the way of it.
3-1. Should get something good here. And he swings and misses. Strike two. Don't expect him to cut down with 2 strikes either. 1 for 2 so far tonight. One mighty swing would tie it. And he cuts through that one, strikes out for the final out of the 5th inning. Just the 3rd strikeout tonight for Adam Conley, but he has 5 scoreless to his name. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now during the Ford Summer Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. 5 innings into the books already tonight, and it is 2-0 Marlins. Giancarlo Stanton leading things off in the 6th inning. Christian Yelich and Marcell Ozuna. That is a tough 2, 3, and 4 for any pitcher. Martin Perez evens it up at 1-1 on Stanton. Bouncer shortstop, and Andrews takes care of Stanton, 1 away. Good start to the 6th inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's hit it back once again to Dana Larson. All right, thanks, Dana. For the Astros with that big lead in the division, 17 games over the Angels, and winning again tonight. As Yelich 0 for 2. Perez pumps one in there, and boy, is Martin been something else since the Rocky first couple of hitters he faced today. He has gotten himself into quite the groove.
They had big double play to end the 1st inning. After the home run, Ozuna and Realmuto both had hits, but Justin Bour hit that ground ball to shortstop, and since that time they've had a couple of base runners, but both of them have been on walks, no hits. So the other day you guys were talking about a story about Sister Frances Evans, who passed away recently, the Nolan Ryan story, where they went to the hospital to see Nolan. And while I was watching the game, it reminded me of another story. Look at that blast.
Yelich breaks his bat, and that one drops in off of Odor's glove. Boy, a big swing. You could hear that bat shatter, and Odor just missed making a really fantastic play. That's a base hit for Yelich.
Yelich had hit the ball hard twice. Hard ground ball to second, line shot to center, but it took this little blooper to finally get a base hit. Anyway, Nolan tells a story when Sister Frances and her lifelong friend, her dear friend Sister Maggie, went to the fantasy camp, and one of the campers was pitching to them and hit Sister Frances in the arm and broke her arm during the fantasy camp.
Oh.
And so they obviously had to go home early. So they were invited back a year later for the fantasy camp.
Line drive out to center field, and that one over the head of Delano DeShields. Yelich has very good speed. They're going to send him all the way from first. The throw is up the line, and he is in. Osuna with an RBI double, and it is 3-0 Miami.
We'll take a look at the replay. Osuna, as we've mentioned in the open to the show, the pregame show, he can hit. He's a two-time All-Star, and the ball jumps off his bat. And after the little blooper with one out, line shot in the gap, scores Yelich. And you can see the nice speed that he has as he rounds third base and scores. So they got invited back to the fantasy camp the next year, and Nolan was pitching. So Nolan knows that Sister Frances broke her arm the year before, and he's pitching to her. And he tells the story, he said, it's the most pressure I ever faced facing a hitter, most challenging hitter I ever faced, because all I could do was picture myself hitting her again. Anyway, he kind of lucked out, and I think Sister Frances hit a little ground ball to first base. Sister Maggie hit a ground ball to second. Nolan left that day feeling like he pitched a perfect game.
High fly ball to center field by Real Muto. And DeShields will make the catch. Tagging at second, Osuna. He'll head to third, and he is in there on the long fly ball out, 2 away.
But boy, Sister Frances and Sister Maggie were great Ranger fans. They were out here time after time in the heat cheering for the Rangers. They went to the first postseason games that the Rangers had in Yankee Stadium, and we had a contingency of maybe 150 or 200 Ranger fans in one section of Yankee Stadium, and I happened to be sitting right next to Sister Frances. And although the Yankee fans were cordial and polite and friendly to us, there was an occasional off-color word that came hurling down our way, not at us, but certainly something we could hear. And I several times heard one and kind of looked at Sister Frances, and she looked back as if to say, it's okay, I can handle that. It's not the language I prefer, but I understand this is a ball game and you might not hear everything exactly how you want to hear it.
Ichiro swings and misses. It's 1-1.
They love their Rangers. They love the players, boy. Nolan, I'm sure, was one of their favorites. Sister Frances threw out the first ball here during a playoff game.
And I understand Derek Holland, he made a start, I think, yesterday, maybe for the White Sox, that before the game, he scratched Sister Frances in the dirt on the back of the mound before the game. Yeah.
Very nice.
Pretty cool. Well, a run in this inning against Martin Perez. Ozuna at third base, and the 1-2 pitch to Ichiro, and he holds off. It's 2-2. 3-0 Marlins lead in the top of the 6th inning. And a swing and a miss. He gets Ichiro Suzuki. So the inning is done. Marlins add a run. Adrian Beltre due up third when we come back on his continuing chase to 3,000 hits. You won't want to miss it. Slam inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Tonight's jackpot, $800 plus dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Rangers are hitting for Mike Schwartz tonight. And if a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Mike will win $800. If it's a grand slam, Mike will win another $25,000. So good luck, Mike. It'll be Chu, Elvis Andrus, and Adrian Beltre. Conley up for a 6th inning of work, 5 scoreless so far, has allowed 6 Rangers hits, and as you've noted a couple of times tonight already, Tom, some hard hit outs. So the contact has been there, and this is a story we were seeing in St. Petersburg against the Tampa Bay Rays. Some hard outs by these Rangers hitters.
Yeah, and you know, the name of the game is try to find some holes. All you can do is hit the ball hard. As Jeff Bannister said the other day, you can't guide it into a hole. You can hit it hard and then just hope that there's not a defensive player there to make the play. Not much you can do about that except hit the ball on the barrel of the bat, take your chances. The more times you do that, obviously the better you're going to hit.
2-2 the count on Shin-Soo Choo. He lined out in the first inning and singled in the third. A little bit low, and it's a full count. Now the good news is that Martin Perez has done such a good job at keeping this a close game. It looked like a really rough start to this one where the first 2 batters had scored. And Chu sends this one high in the air to left field. Osuna going back, and there's room out there for him. 1 away. But it's an all too familiar story for Martin Perez. No run support. It's 4.28 runs of support on average, 2nd lowest among Rangers starters. Only Yu Darvish gets less. And once again, really wanting for a little offense tonight. There's Andrus. He has a hit in his 2 tries. He takes one high from Conley. Strike evens it up. 1-1 the count. Conley with a good breaking ball. So we said it last year, you know, Conley had such a good year. He was 25, then 26 years old in the middle of the season. And full of such promise for these Marlins. And we were trying to figure out, you know, we'd heard all these stories, you know, had a bad spring training, velocity was down, started the season really rough, was sent out. Brought back up in May, made 2 starts, they were horrible, sent back out again. It's been 2 months. He's been back up now, and this is his 2nd start since returning as Andrews strikes out swinging. Interesting story on why some of those troubles have been. But 2 outs here, and Adrian Beltre coming up. Beltre 2 for 2 so far tonight, and he's the story at all times when he comes to the plate. Conley hasn't figured out a way to stop him yet. And for more on Adrian Beltre, Emily Jones.
Yeah, Adrian Beltre, the subject of tonight's State Farm winning combination. Adrian has refused basically to talk about 3,000 hits. He says, I'll do it whenever I hit single digits. So he's in luck. After tonight, we can now talk about 3,000 as he is 9 hits away from that magical number. He says he's been able to not focus on it greatly, also not focusing too much on the trade deadline. He says, look, I understand the business of baseball and that the front office has to make decisions. It's our job as players to make those decisions easy for them. And with that being said, this homestand very important as the games start to dwindle down before that magical July 31st date, guys.
Under just foul for Beltre, keeps the count 1-2. Yep, it's on. Now he's into single digits. We can all start asking him questions about it. He's been very good about it. He's so good with his time and with all of us who pester him. But he has held us off for the most part, saying, look, I mean, I'm still 20, I'm still 17, I'm still 12 away. Come on, it's not. He says, once I get into single digits, then maybe we can start talking about it. So here we are. Conley's 1-2. And this one hit on the ground, and that one up the middle into center field. A base hit for Beltre, his third of the night. And we're down to 8.
Shortstop get hurt on that play, maybe. Hard hit ball, a diving attempt. And let's see if Rojas hurt himself on that play.
He went down hard,
but he's moving around pretty slowly right now out there.
Might have knocked the wind out of him. Beltre having fun over there at first base.
It was funny, not a long time ago, but weeks ago, when we were all trying to predict when Adrian would get his 3,000th hit, you look at the schedule and you say, well, hopefully he can get it while we're at home and it doesn't happen on the road. And then everybody looked at the schedule and said, oh, Seattle's coming in. Maybe he'll get it against Felix Hernandez if he pitches. After 2 hits yesterday and 3 hits today, might not even get to Seattle by the looks of it. And here's one of those games for Adrian where he's hit 3 ground balls and all of them have found a hole. Some days you hit 3 line drives and every one of them is caught. Today he had a base hit to right field. He had one up the middle that just eluded D. Gordon. That one up the middle just eluded Miguel Rojas. A pretty good example of you have to have some good fortune when you hit the ball that no one's there to make the play for you, against you. We've got one big swing right here to get the Rangers right back in the game. Been knocking on the door of a run, but haven't quite been able to deliver yet.
So close so many times. That was their 6th hit of the night. And here's Napoli. Napoli struck out looking in the first, popped up in the 4th inning. Pardon me, 7 hits tonight for the Rangers. They've out-hit the Marlins. And that one a little bit low, 2-0. So Napoli should get something decent to hit here. Certainly at the very least he can pick out one pitch, one location if he wants, and sit on it. Fouls this one straight back out of play. It's 2-1. Conley pretty impressive so far. The most work he's had to expend in any one inning. Right here in the 6th. High fly ball, right field. Going out, D. Gordon. And the second baseman makes the catch. And that ends the inning. So the Rangers get a hit. Another one for Adrian Beltre. But we go to the 7th inning in a 3-0 game. will have the ball for the Marlins. Cole Hamels will take the hill for the Rangers. Same time, 7:05 game, 6:30 pregame here on Fox Sports Southwest. Hope you'll join us for the middle game of this 3-game interleague series.
Two guys that are tough to hit. Opponents' batting averages in the low 220s. Straley having a really nice year. 3.49 ERA, 2.29 opponents' batting average. Not many walks and quite a few strikeouts. Almost a strikeout per inning.
Tyler Moore, first pitch swinging, sends this one out to center field. Long run for Delano DeShields, and he'll get there. One out in the 7th. And tomorrow night is also your next chance to take advantage of Fox Sports Southwest $10 Tuesdays. Tickets for the Marlins Rangers games, just $10. Fans can add on a $10 meal deal when purchasing online. Just go to TexasRangers.com/specials to secure your $10 Tuesday tickets for tomorrow night using the coupon code FSSW10. Perez to Dietrich. With one out here in the 7th inning. Dietrich, and then the 9th place hitter Miguel Rojas. And it is 1-1. So far, great work by both starters. Marlins got their first 2 runs of the game on a Stanton home run in the 1st inning. Strike 2 called to Dietrich, and then they added a run in the 6th inning on a 1-out double by Marcell Ozuna with Yelich at first base, and he was able to circle the bases. Ground ball, second base. Odor is there. 2 away.
Shortstop
Perez wants it in baseball before dealing with Rojas, who is 0 for 2, lined out to center, popped up to second base. Rojas lately has been getting a lot of time at shortstop for the Marlins. They've been starting there since last Wednesday. Just a couple of months this year with a fractured right thumb that he sustained on May 7th. But JT Riddle currently nursing a sore shoulder, and so Rojas has slipped in and gotten some time again, and he's fallen right back into where he was, which is to say hitting the ball pretty well. Came in at 325. Takes a strike. It's 1-1. Perez, he's been getting that baseball and wanting to go right back at these hitters. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count on Rojas. I mentioned Riddle out with that shoulder, and the Marlins have been considering whether or not to put him on the disabled list. Automatically, recently expressing a little concern that it might take him a little while to fully get back. And that's why you saw them run out there when Rojas last inning went diving for a ball and was a little slow getting up. Inside, 2-2 on Rojas. Rojas more of a super utility guy for the Marlins, but they've been comfortable with him handling the duties there at shortstop. 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt, fills it up. Little speed waiting on deck there in the form of D. Gordon. Three-two, and a liner by second. That's a base hit for Rojas, and a 2-out single turns the lineup over.
Second baseman D. Gordon.
Brings up D. Gordon.
It looked like a changeup. Nice job of hitting. Rojas waited on it and went the other way. But the left-hand hitter up now, Gordon, with 2 outs and Stanton coming up next. Bullpen is ready, so probably Martine's last hitter right here. Doug Brocail just wants to come out, make sure that He gets a little bit of a breather, a little bit of instruction. Get this last hitter, finish 7 innings, keep the game right where it is at 3-0. There's Jeremy getting ready in the bullpen. He'll probably face Stanton, hopefully next inning and not this inning.
Perez has done a great job of battling back today and getting control of this game. 3-0 Marlins. Struck Gordon out last time he faced him. And the bouncer, left side of the infield. Andrews will go the short way, and they force out Rojas to end the inning. So just one pitch needed to take care of Gordon. Time to stand and stretch tonight at Globe Life Park. Rangers offense hoping to get things started when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday stretch.
Rangers trying to get things started in this 7th. Rougned Odor will lead things off. And hey, the Rangers will also be looking at the Baltimore Orioles this weekend. And on Saturday night, the first 15,000 fans to the ballpark, they're going to get a Rougned Odor high five bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. It's the second in a series of 2 high-fiving bobbleheads. And you get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. All right, here is Odor, 0 for 2 so far tonight against Adam Conley. Conley's first pitch way off the plate for ball 1. You wonder when and if Conley might flinch here and give the Rangers a chance to get back in this game. He has dodged trouble on and off again tonight. Odor slaps it foul, and it is 1-1. Rangers had a couple of runners in the first, a couple of base runners in the third. Had a man at third base in the 5th inning. In any case, have not been able to come up with a big hit. Time called for and granted to Rougned Odor. Conley's definitely kept that pitch count in check tonight. A swing and a miss is strike 2.
Conley's done a good job today, keeping the ball where he wants to for the most part. Rangers have only had 7 hits. Beltre's had 3 singles. Closest they came to a score was DeShield's triple off the wall on left field. But that came with 2 outs.
Odor stays alive. 1-2 the count. We mentioned last inning that the story Conley that was kind of interesting because we've detailed the journey this year and the disappointments that have been there for Conley. Last year they're playing a game at Wrigley and he was in the dugout. The Marlins hit a big home run, maybe take the lead or whatever toward the end of the game. It's a 1-2 pitch. And Odor splits his bat in a soft flare to the right side. Moore is there and hauls it in for out number 1.
Boy, that bat went farther than the ball did. It was catching up with the ball, ended up out foul territory in right field.
Not often that the barrel goes further than the ball, as was the case here.
That's the ball in. Looked like a changeup. Hit right off the handle, and that's all that's left in Rudy's hands is the handle. And then it's a race to second base between the ball and the bat. The ball won. The ball landed foul. If it landed fair, it might have landed for a base hit before the ball did.
1 out. Here is Jonathan Lucroy. This will be the 90th pitch for Conley, and it's fouled over to the right side out of play. So the Cubs game for the Marlins last year. Marlins take the lead. Conley excited. Not exactly a jump, but thrust his arms up in the air, and he banged his hand right on the concrete rooftop of that dugout. Did a little damage. This one down in the dirt toward third base, and the throw across the diamond by Dietrich in time, and 2 quick outs in the 7th inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Once again, we check in with Dana Larson. All right, thanks, Dana. Baltimore 7 back in the American League East coming into play today. 4 games under 500. Mazar takes ball 1. Nomar 0 for 2 tonight. It's been a struggle lately for Nomar. Talked about it quite a bit on that road trip. Right now the throws of the longest hitless streak of this Rangers season as it takes a strike, and it's 3-1. With his 2 at-bats in tonight's game, he has 1 for his last 29. Bouncer, first base side, but foul. It's a full count. Benny continues to show support and encouragement for Mazara. He says, of course, we see the results, but and it's been several days in a row now. He gets questions every day about it, and he answers it pretty much the same. He says, you know, we go on what we're seeing. We feel like we're seeing good swings. I think the results are going to follow here shortly for Nomar.
Yeah, you just wouldn't think a hitter like Mazara, who essentially uses the whole field, makes pretty good contact, could go 16 for 115. That's like a 140 batting average for 115 at bats. It just seems like it's too long a time for a good young hitter to go like that.
Well, this strikeout ends the 7th inning, and it's another quiet half inning for this Rangers offense. We go to the 8th. Martin Perez appears to be done for the night after a really solid 7th. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Well, a pretty night tonight here in Arlington at Globe Life Park, and we go to the 8th inning now. And Jeremy Jeffress comes out of the bullpen.
Take a look at his pitch arsenal. Basically, he likes to feature a hard sinking fastball that averages right around 94 miles an hour. Last 7 or 8 times out, it looks like it's taken a tick upwards. We've seen him reach 96 miles an hour with that great movement. Curveball and a changeup. Numbers on the season, nice ERA, good opponent's batting average.
This bullpen has settled in lately. You see the last 14 games, a 2.08 ERA. And it seems like, you never know. But it seems like they have kind of settled into a bit of a groove. Claudio, the yet to be named officially closer. Well, we saw Jose Leclerc finish out the game yesterday. But everybody seems to be sliding in pretty comfortably these days. As Jeffress goes 1-0 to Giancarlo Stanton and misses outside. Stanton an opposing sight. That right side of the plate. And he hammers that ball foul. Look out. Goodness. Well, this is what he did in the first inning.
That was a pitch on the inside part of the plate that he probably didn't hit off the barrel of the bat. Hit it slightly toward the handle. That's why it only went to the back of the seats there in left field.
429 feet. Just missed it. Hits this ball hard. Other way, and it is gone. Number 32 this year for Giancarlo Stanton, most in Major League Baseball. And that was a no-doubter. 4-0 Miami.
Yeah, the thing about Stanton is he's so strong that he can hit the ball to all parts of the ballpark. That was a pitch on the inside part of the plate, 96 miles an hour. And Stanton hit it on a line a couple rows back in right field. And it's the kind of ball that if most guys hit it the same way and make contact, it's probably not going to go that far. It might even get to the warning track and the guy might catch it. But I think it's why he's so tough to pitch to, because you can make a pretty good pitch and he can hit it on not the great part of the bat, but he's so strong he can still hit a home run. Most guys, if you hit him off the end of the bat or off the handle, the ball's not going to go that far.
Ground ball, shortstop. Backhand pick for Elvis. Goes out Yelich, 1 away. MLB.TV every night, every device. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, you get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply, so check it out. MLB.TV for all the details. Marcell Osuna way out in front of that one for strike one. Osuna today single, and RBI double, is also flat out to right field. One and one. A count on Osuna. Cleanup man tonight for these Marlins. Jeffress on a relief of Martin Perez, went 7 innings, gave up 3 runs on 7 hits, walked 2, struck out 3. That's a foul for strike 2. I thought Martin threw well.
He did a nice job. In a game where the Rangers scored their fair share of runs, we'd be talking about the nice game that Martin pitched. 7 innings, 3 runs with a great chance to win a ball game. It's just today Rangers haven't been able to score. Takes away a little bit from the job that Martin did. Anytime Martin goes 7 innings, gives up 3 hits, you'll say you're happy with the outing. especially after the way it started.
Strike 3 called on Osuna. 2 away. Osuna
Can't believe it.
it's just
How could he call me out?
stunned. What? It didn't even swing.
Catcher J.T.
Well, let's see where it was. Right, barely on the corner of the outside part of the plate.
So 2 away for Real Muto. One for 3 tonight. Muto had the base hit in the first inning. What a season he's having, though. Seems like series by series we're introduced to catchers all the time who are kind of turning our heads with what they're able to do. We know the frontline guys, but I guess the guys you don't hear enough about probably are guys like this guy, Real Muto, who has done a lot of damage everywhere, but in particular on the road. And he takes that one near the belt buckle. National League hitters, he has the highest road average, 369. That's pretty good. Overall, a 305 average coming in. He's got some pop, and he takes that one down low, a 4-pitch walk.
Yeah, Real Muto pretty much has established himself as a hitter who's going to hit 305. He's hitting 305 this year. He hit 305 last year, and he hit 303 the year before.
Now here comes Ichiro Suzuki, and I mentioned earlier Suzuki came on to pinch hit of the 4th inning for the starting designated hitter Justin Bour, and we weren't certain exactly why, and we have gotten the report since then. Is this one lifted out to center field? The Shields back there makes the catch, and that ends the inning. Bour left the game with a right oblique strain on his day today. We go to the 8th inning. Time running short of the Rangers. They trail by 4. Summary, pretty simple one, really. Giancarlo Stanton, a couple of home runs tonight. 2-run homer in the first out, and a solo shot in the 8th inning. 11 for the month now, most in Major League Baseball. Adrian Beltre, 3 hits, and he is down to 8 remaining before joining the 3,000 hit club. 4-0 Marlins lead, bottom of the 8th, and at long last, the Rangers get into the Marlins bullpen.
Yeah, Kyle Barraclough will be coming in. Got a nice arm. A lot of strikeouts, 49 strikeouts in 45 innings. The one thing he has done, though, he's been a little bit wild. He's walked 30 batters in 45 innings. Doesn't give up many home runs. He's only given up 3. But obviously he can be a little bit wild, and Rangers took advantage of some opportunities in Tampa Bay late in the ball game. Maybe they'll get some today.
Delano to Shields will start things off. I can't think of a better start to a comeback than this guy leading off and finding his way on somehow, getting that speed out there. Takes a strike. It's 1-1. Great night for Adam Conley. What a start he had. 7 shutout innings. Look out. 2-1. Conley 7 shutouts, 7 hits, no walks, and struck out 5.
I guess one of the keys would be no walks. Coming in for the season, 18 walks in 34 innings. Although I think with Conley, you have to disregard what he did at the beginning of the year when he really struggled, got sent to the minor leagues. It's pretty much who he is right now after coming back from the minor leagues this time. A little bit closer to what he was last year.
Shields waiting on a 3-1 pitch, and he takes ball 4. So, indeed, he does find his way on. A walk starts the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, again, Barraclough had walked a bunch of batters. It's only 30 in 45 innings. That's going to get you in trouble as a late inning reliever if you let guys get on with the base on balls.
So some speed out there now in front of the top of the order. Here comes leadoff man Carlos Gomez. Leadoff man tonight anyway. Gomez had a big 8th inning home run last night. And time called just before that pitch. Barraclough, 6'2", 225 pounds. Southern California guy. Now 27 years old. Celebrated his birthday in May. And buries that one. It's 1-1. He was acquired by the Marlins from St. Louis in that trade for Steve Cishek in 2015. And this is 6th year in Major League Baseball. And foul back. First strike to 6th year in pro ball. He's pitched a lot in the past 2 seasons with the Marlins. Originally a 7th round pick by the Cardinals. Shields at first. And it is now 2-2 to Carlos Gomez. Well, in that series against the Rays over the weekend, Rangers had to come from behind all 3 nights, oftentimes in the late innings, and it's a full count now. And if they're going to win this one tonight, they're going to have to do it in a very similar fashion. Down by 4 as we work here in this 8th inning. Barraclough, the first reliever of the night for Miami. This payoff pitch, and he gets Gomez to chase strike 3.
As a hitter in that situation, probably looking for a fastball, certainly looking for a fastball, hoping you can react and adjust to something off speed, but instead he gets the breaking ball down and away and couldn't quite reach it.
So 1 out. It brings up Chu, who has a hit today. He's also lined out. Chu's been seeing the ball pretty well lately as well. A lot of walks on that last road trip. 6 walks for Chu. Not uncommon. He's good at working the counts. And one of those guys late in the game who really puts a tough at bat on relievers. So Rangers could use that right here. Shoots this one to short. Caught by Rojas. Throws back to first and it gets away. DeShields is going to hop up and try for second base and he'll be in there. So Chu lines out, second out of the inning. But the throw by Rojas back to first got away from Tyler Moore, and it's an E6 that allows DeShields to get into scoring position.
The soft line drive looked like off the bat it might be able to sneak into the outfield, but wasn't hit hard enough. Delino got a couple of extra steps towards second. The throw was wild. I'm not sure whether Tyler Moore would have had a chance to throw to second base, but it would have had a play maybe if he didn't slip as he got toward the dugout trying to make the throw.
Elvis needs a strike on that fastball from Bearclaw. Rangers almost started after it. 1 and 1 the count. Bottom of the 8th inning, down by 4, but a runner at second base for Andrews. And Elvis pops this one up. Shallow center field. Yelich is on, and he'll tuck it away. So the inning is done. We go to the 9th inning tonight at Globe Life Park. It's 4-0 Marlins.
Congratulations to Amy Margaret.
Rangers have come from behind in all 3 of their last victories, looking for more of the same here tonight as they trail 4-0 as we head into the 9th inning. Dana Larson reminding you we've got Rangers Live presented by Frontier Communications coming up right after the game. Of course, we'll talk about Adrian Beltre's big night at the plate as he is racing or sprinting towards 3,000 hits. We'll look ahead to tomorrow's starter with Cole Hamels on the hill. We'll have reaction from from the skipper, key players in the clubhouse as well, and other news from other teams around Major League Baseball as we get ever so close to the trade deadline. News from those teams coming up right after the game. Join me, Darren Oliver, and Mark McLemore. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. And that sprint for Adrian Beltre, by the way, will continue in the bottom of the 9th inning when he will lead things off. So don't go anywhere. 4-0. Marlins with the lead, and they will send the bottom of the order in this 9th inning. Moore, Dietrich, and then Rojas. Marlins 4 runs on 8 hits. They have committed 1 error and stranded 5 so far tonight. Jeffress runs that heater a little in. Rangers, meanwhile, no runs on 7 hits. No errors. They have stranded 6. High fly ball. Center field to Shields is there.
That's the second ball that Delano's caught pretty much in that same spot. So Marlins have hit some balls hard and scored some runs. They've hit some balls hard that have been caught too.
So 1 away, and now here is Dietrich.
One thing Dietrich hasn't done today is he hadn't been hit by a pitch. Been hit 14 times this year. That's the 3rd most in the major leagues.
He's still got a shot. Not over yet.
Doesn't have a lot of body armor. He's got a little bit of help on the elbow, though. That's a stat I'm glad I never led baseball in. Might have been my best shot to lead baseball in anything, though. Stand closer to the plate, not get out of the way.
I am always amazed at those guys who, I don't want to say make a living out of it, but you know, who are so adept apparently at getting hit. Don Baylor, Ron Hunt, Craig Biggio, a lot of guys who either A, weren't afraid, B, didn't have the reaction to get out of the way. Those guys, listen, it was a part of their game.
Yeah, I think they had the reaction. They just had the knack, and they were able to take the pain. Well, recently, when you started wearing, you can wear basically a pad from your shoulder to your wrist if you want to, and then it gets pretty easy. You just, as the ball comes in, just take it off the padding on your arm. Now, not one you're not gonna stick your head in the way of a ball, but if it's anywhere near above your waist and shoulder, you take it off the arm, you don't even feel it.
Well, he accepts the walk this time. Dietrich aboard for Miguel Rojas. So Dietrich, by the way, was hit, or has been hit, more times this season than you were hit in your 9-year big league career.
How many times did I get hit?
13 times.
13? Wow.
He's got you by 1 this year.
I remember a couple of them. The 2 that I remember the most was probably a 100-mile-an-hour fastball from Nolan Ryan right in the left elbow.
Can you still feel it?
No. I went to first base, and I think I got as far as third base, came off the field, and there's no way I could go back to the outfield.
Dietrich take another lead here. 4-0 Marlins leading. Rojas in a hole 0-1. He is 1 for 3 in this one. Jeffress came on last inning for Martin Perez, who went 7 strong. And a bouncer, shortstop. Andrus with a glove flip to second. And now the relay throw to first goes way over first into the dugout. And I think Odor's, I don't know, is he campaigning for a bad slide? Doesn't matter, you don't have to throw it anyway. With the out at second base, second of the inning.
It was a nice flip from Elvis, who wasn't thinking just 1 out. He was thinking, if we have a chance for a double play, this is the way we're going to have to do it. And that ball just slipped, obviously, out of Rugi's hands. It was hard for him the throw, the flip was high, so he had to make sure he keeps his foot on the bag as he reaches and doesn't really have time to get the ball out of his glove. And when he did, he just had it in the tips of his fingers, and it was a little pop-up over the first baseman's head.
It's so out of bounds right there.
He was throwing it to one of the fans.
Well, it's a fielder's choice and an error to put Rojas at second base, but there are two gone. Top of the order now for D. Gordon. Gordon today, see the 1 for 4, had the double in the first inning and then scored a run. Since then, a couple of ground outs, a strikeout. Excellent speed, about as quick a guy as you'll find in Major League Baseball. 1-1 the count. We talk a lot sometimes about who might be the quickest or the fastest big league player, and D. Gordon, one of those guys who has a claim potentially to that title. Really, Hamilton and Cincinnati likely would be the fastest when it's all said and done. 1-2 the count now to Gordon. I love talking to those guys though and asking them about a little foot race between you and, let's say, Delino.
Mike Trout.
Yeah.
One thing, because of injury, will probably never happen, but it would be a huge way to spice up the All-Star game.
Swing and a miss. Gordon strikes out swinging, and that ends the inning. Jeffress with a couple of innings in relief. But now to the 9th inning we go. Adrian Beltre, 3 hits into the 9th, continuing to chase 3,000. He'll lead it off when we come back. As we go to the 9th inning, Adrian Beltre will lead it up. Been a special night so far tonight for him, Tom.
It has been. He came into the game needing 11 hits to get to 3,000, and his first time up got the same kind of a hit he got in the 9th inning yesterday. Ground ball into right field. Got a ground ball up the middle just by D. Gordon. Had some top spin on it. And then third time up, smashed one just by Miguel Rojas in the left center field for a base hit. So 3 ground ball base hits as he leads off the 9th inning. The Rangers need a comeback and see if we can get another one.
So Beltre now 2,992 hits, and our Adrian Beltre hit counter brought to you by Jack in the Box. Always a thrill when he comes up to bat. At this point, A.J. Ramos, the closer for the Marlins, is on. 39th appearance for him, and he finds one right in there for a strike. Off the plate, makes it 1-1. Ramos, third pitcher of the night. Kyle Bearclaw through the scoreless 8th inning. 7 shutout today from their starter, Adam Conley. And a foul ball makes it 1-2. Marlins, we talked about this earlier, 8 games under 500, and they have already begun to wave the white flag this year. And a guy like AJ Ramos, we figure to be a very attractive relief arm for a lot of teams out there looking to bolster their bullpen. 1-2, and a bouncer left side, base hit, 4th of the night for Adrian Beltre, and he creeps out much closer.
It's one of those games. You don't have many games like this where you hit 4 ground balls between first base and third base and they all find a hole. He pulled this one the most and shoots it between third base and shortstop. I'm sure Adrian's had some games where he hit 4 balls harder than this, but he never located 4 balls any better than this. 4 ground ball singles, 4 for 4. And more importantly, to start the 9th inning, the Rangers have a base runner as they try to make a comeback.
Here we go again now. 2,993 hits for Adrian Beltre, our hit counter. Again, sponsored by Jack in the Box. His first 4-hit game since August 19th of last year, 83 games ago. That one was at Tampa Bay. Another shot for Napoli. Every time he's come up today, there have been men on base. At first and third in the first inning. The lead man on ahead of him in the 4th inning. You know, the 2 outs and a man at first in the 6th inning. Look out, up near the head. 3-0 the count.
That's one, as a hitter, you're just not ready for this. You've got a pretty good closer coming into the ball game. Got a 2-0 count when he's got to throw a strike, and boy, that ball just really got away from him right up at the head.
Beltre moved to second on defensive indifference. 3-0 from Ramos. And that one at the belt for a strike.
Ramos is a little bit like Bearclaw in regards to bases on balls. He's walked 20 in 37 innings, which is somewhere around 5 per 9 innings. So he hasn't had impeccable control, which you really need as a closer.
Hard hit bouncer, third base. Snagged by Dietrich. And he throws out Napoli for the first out of the inning.
Well hit ball. See Dietrich take a step back and eyeball that ball into his glove. Knows he has time, so he takes several steps toward first base. A little bit of head start with a throw. Turned a hard hit ball into an out.
Now here's Rugi. Hit the ball hard tonight, but 0 for 3. And Ramos gets him to foul this one away for strike 1. Ramos already 3rd in Marlins club history with 91 saves. And in fact, has worked the 3rd most games in Marlins history, 323 relief appearances prior to tonight. One-strike pitch, and there's a ground ball down to first base. And again, Moore is there. It is race to first. Happens to beat Odor. A little moment there where you thought an opening perhaps for Rugi, as Moore had a little trouble.
Well, second hard hit ground ball that is turned into an out. See Moore go down on one knee to make sure he blocks it. Barely got to first base to get Odor.
He's had some pretty good reactions down there at first base. And in that case, reacted to the ball and then made up for that momentary bobble with some good footwork to get over to the bag. So here's Jonathan Lucroy. Last chance for the Rangers, down 4-0 in the ninth. Opening game on a very important homestand for this team. A week away from the non-waiver trade deadline. Rangers came in 48-52, games under 500. Very much in the mix in the wild card race, 2.5 games out of the wild card position. Look out, another one up and in. Lucroy able to get out of the way of ball 2. Almost with that big bend at the waist. Tight. It's 3-0. Well, if Lucroy can get his way on, he'll bring the potential tying run into the on-deck circle. An automatic strike makes it 3-1.
Barely a strike.
Yeah. Lucroy would certainly take a walk here. Fouls this one back, and now the Rangers are down to their final strike. Lucroy 0 for 3. Ramos, now 30 years old. Comes ready. Beltre's at third, the 3-2 pitch, and that ball is lined down the left field line, but foul.
He tried a 3-2 curveball and hung it. Jonathan was just a little bit out in front of it. Good pitch to hit, even if it is 3-2. That's one of those pitches you're looking for a fastball and trying to adjust to a breaking ball, and it makes it a lot easier to adjust to it when it's right down the middle of the plate like that. Just a little bit out in front of it. Hit it hard though, right off the barrel of the bat. Just hooked it foul.
Ramos, born in Lubbock, went to Texas Tech. And a 3-2 pitch, and that is low ball 4. So Lucroy takes the walk. The inning will continue. Rangers have him on the corners.
Left fielder, Nomar Mazara.
And brings up Nomar Mazara.
That's a perfect spot if Nomar can get on for Joey Gallo, who's coming into the on-deck circle. If Joey gets to hit, he would be the tying run no matter what happens with Nomar right here. And one more base runner. Ramos not throwing a lot of strikes, 10 out of 18. So he almost has to throw his curveball to be confident to throw a strike.
Runner goes from first. They're going to throw down to second base. Lucroy in there with a steal. Rangers have him second and third, and that's the first stolen base of the year for Jonathan.
And that was a fastball on the first pitch. It wasn't even close to being a strike. And if he comes in the last batter to Lucroy, got to 3-2, threw 2 curveballs. I don't think because he was trying to fool him, he just wanted to throw a strike.
Ramos and Mazarov never faced one another. Second and third, 2 out, 9th inning. And it's low. 2-0.
Changeup. Don Mattingly sees Joey Gallo in the on-deck circle and said, "Hey, we've had a pretty great game right here, 4-0. You walk Mazzara, you're going to get a little nervous with Joey Gallo at the plate."
Juan Nieves, the pitching coach, makes a trip out there to check in on Ramos.
It makes kind of a nerve-wracking situation late in the game, I would think, for Don Mattingly, when his 2 late-inning guys, Barrenclaw and Ramos, both walk somewhere around 5 guys per 9 innings.
Mazzara waits 2-0. And look out, it's ball 3.
Not even coming close with his fastball.
Mazzara, one would figure, would be taking all the way here. And there's a strike. And I don't know, would you have him taking here?
Absolutely. You have to take right here. And even if you get a perfect pitch and it's a 3-1 count and you're looking for it all the way, your chances of getting a hit on it are less than 40%. You want to do whatever you can to give Joey Gallo a chance to be the tying run.
Oh, and he swings anyway and sends this one high in the air out to right field, and Stanton will collect it for the final out of the game. Rangers get a couple men into scoring position at the bottom of the 9th inning, but can't get it done, and the Marlins take the opener 4-0. Giancarlo Stanton, fitting that he should make the final out, is the guy who hit the 2 big home runs for Miami. Well, Dana Larson, Mark McLemore, Darren Oliver, they'll be back to talk about a lot of things from this game, not the least of which was Giancarlo Stanton's big night at the plate. We'll be back here to talk about the great pitching of Adam Conley as well. For Tom Grieve, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond. Stay with us. Rangers Live postgame show starts right after this.
Early 12 game for Miami.